let's talk to Sista Nubia here. Now, Sista Nubia is an archaeologist. I've had her on the show a number of times, going back years. And she's from Detroit. Now, a lot of people are not used to seeing African-American female archaeologists. Okay? Especially one that's easy on the eyes. Okay? All right. But she has a lecture coming up at Wayne County Community College Eastern Campus, Thursday, March 21st, 2019, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, called Nubian Women of Antiquity, The Queendom of Kush. Now tell us about this, because just the title deserves explanation. Because when I say Kush, people talking about the type you roll. I'm like, no, we ain't talking about rolling no Kush. I know people may be smoking and listen to the show, but that ain't what we're talking about. So go ahead. What is this about? Nubian Women of Antiquity, The Queendom of Kush.
Thank you for having me again on your show, Brother Imhotep. The Queendom of Kush is a 350-year period from 170 BCE to 314 CE, in which the queens were reigning queens were ruling Kush. Kush is, we're not sure if the pronunciation of Kush was Kas, Kesh, Kish, but it is written in a text. We're not sure what the people called themselves. The ancient name for the area was Ta-Nehisi. Right. So we're not sure if the people called it Kush themselves, but it is written in the text of the Meroitic text and the text of the Egyptians. We know the Egyptians, via the Greeks and the Romans, changed names and things. So that's what the little speculation is there. But Kush, we're not talking about the Kush that we roll. We're talking about the Queendom of Kush at this point, where these sisters ruled. Right. Now explain to people. Now we'll see the name Ta-Nehisi, but also Ta-Seti. Yes. Okay, so Ta-Seti referred to the southern portion, right? Land of the bow. The land of the bow, the southern portion, which was the southern portion, and then Ta-Nehisi was the larger portion, which we call Kush, which went from that border even a little east, a little west, a little more north. It was a large area, and sometimes Ta-Nehisi what overtook Egypt, because they were like cousins that had fights all the time. Right. So, sometimes it encompassed that entire empire. The Kushite Empire, we even speculate that empire went over, passed into Asia Minor, which is now called the Middle East, into Asia. We do know that the Shang dynasty was an African dynasty in Asia. Right, so in China, right. And then we know that there were pyramids in Sarajevo and in Bosnia that are straightforward pyramids. Now there are trees and grass growing over them. So the Kushite Empire and the Egyptian Empire was much more huge. We even know that there's a Kush mountain range, and they also talk about in India, in the 7 gates of Kush in Turkey. So the Kushite influence in their reign and their empire probably is huge. Even going down, we know that the architecture and many structures that are as far as Botswana resemble the same, and that structure dates back to 300,000 years BC. So we are a lot more ancient than is told, as we've discussed before. The reason why the youth of the European civilization, which they trace their ancestry only to 60,000 years, where they start standing up straight. Well, there was never a time that we know in history the Africans did not stand up straight. Okay, so let me back up, because you gave us a mouthful here. Okay. And now, do you have your lectures on DVD or digital download? I do not. Oh, come on, Nubia! Come on! You got to do that. I gotta document it first. I want to put. Oh, okay. Document it in some books, and then therefore, because we have people that are running around taking credit for people's primary research, so we don't want that. Okay. All right. So let me back up here. So you talk about 300,000 BC. 300,000. Now, where was this? This is in Botswana. The structures that we're finding in Meroe, ancient Meroe, which was a period in ancient Kush that I said that really roughly started from 760 BCE on down to 314. So we're talking about even earlier than that, we can talk about the beginning of Kush. Begins with what they call the Scorpion King, that has the symbols of Selket, the scorpion, and has the symbol of Neat.
Right.
Which, anytime you talk about Neat, or the Most High being Neat, who is the sister of Selket, those of you, I'm sorry, I'm going so fast.
Yeah, slow down a little bit,
You know.
and we're going to go to the phone lines in just a minute. We'll go to Quasi, squeeze them in before the break, and we'll hold you over the break also. So don't worry about that.
And
So,
then
because you use the terminology a lot of people don't understand, right?
It's a lot.
Okay,
It's a lot.
so
But
go ahead.
We know the Scorpion King was probably from Kush.
Okay, so we've seen the
probably
movie The Scorpion King with
Yes.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Yeah, with the Rock.
Right.
The Rock was
this
a good Scorpion King.
So what was or who was the Scorpion King?
The Scorpion King was an unknown king. They don't even know his name.
Okay.
And that's why they call him the Scorpion King, because it has the symbol of the scorpion, which is Selket, over his head, but it also has the flower. And the flower always symbolizes Neat. Neat is the oldest representation of the Most High, which is a woman who, I kid you not, the representations of Neat could be a mirror image of Neat.
And I've heard we've had you on the show talking about the netter or deity Neat, the female deity.
She was a deity. She wasn't a netter.
Oh, okay.
She was a deity, and she was, she had all the attributes. She is the power behind the sun. S-U-N. So her son was Ra.
Okay, so when we talk about a netter, the netter were what the deities were referred to in ancient Kemet. The netter, singular, netteru, plural.
The netters are like the characteristics of the Most High.
Right. Well, they're basically, people describe them as manifestations of nature, different manifestations of nature. But you have Set, you have Osar, you have Heru.
Those are the different we say that the Most High is schizophrenic, basically. That's what we say.
Well, we have different manifestations of that one creative principle.
Yes.
You had deities. You had the same thing. Let's make go outside the converse of some people's awareness.
It wasn't polytheism.
Right. No, you have one supreme being, but you have emissaries, helpers. You have the same thing in Christianity. They're called saints.
Right.
Because when you study the saints, you have what are known as patron saints.
I can't hear anything on here.
Okay, and patron saints watch over different groups of people, watch over different cities. Like Saint Maurice, who was a Moor at one point, was the patron saint of Germany. Saint Nicholas was the patron saint of Russia, patron saint of children, pawnbrokers, money lenders, prostitutes, things like this, right? So when you say that,
which means that the Most High loved everyone, right?
Right, exactly. So when you say Neat was not a netter, what do you mean by that?
I mean that she was the Most High. She was She was the Most High, literally.
Okay, so
because
she
is equated with
the supreme force, the supreme being.
Yes.
Okay.
Which was represented by the stars.
Okay, so
there's a connection to astronomy, that why the terminology is used as the Most High.
Okay.
Because they were referring to how the universe was formed and the things that were in the heavens.
Right. Okay, so what culture was Neat from? And it's spelled N-I-T-H-E, right?
N-E-I-T-H.
N-E-I-T-H. N-E-I-T-H. What culture was Neat from?
Neat was from prehistoric. Prehistoric or pre-Kemet.
Okay, before pre-ancient Egypt, pre-Kemet.
Ancient, prehistoric.
Okay. All right. So we're talking about in Kush?
So she was in Kush as well.
Okay.
The characteristics, her characteristics at different times, you have different people.
Right.
And then,
so they change.
Right.
Right.
Then you have Set and Osir, which people call Isis and Osiris.
Right.
But she also takes on the characteristics of Neat as well. Because in different time periods you have different people. Osiris dies and then he becomes the king of the underworld. Right.
Right. He's resurrected. Yeah.
He's resurrected, but he goes and he takes his place
underworld. Right.
on the other side.
Right.
So she's ruling this side.
Neat is ruling this side, the living side.
No,
Set. Okay. Right.
Is ruling this side.
Okay.
And then he's ruling the underworld. Then she gets help with all kinds of people. She gets help with, all the pantheon is her helpers, basically.
Right.
So there's over 300 in all. So
Neteru are deities from ancient Egypt, ancient Kemet. Okay.
And then there are some that are unknown, but there is a resistance because the academia is non-black. There is a resistance to equate the prehistoric the prehistoric people as black people
Right.
that were previous to Egypt. As you know, Egypt is a Caucasian civilization, not.
Right.
All right. I'm just kidding those who are saying that.
Not a Caucasian civilization.
Not a Caucasian
Right,
civilization. They are African. They are of African descent,
Mm-hmm.
and we are descended from all those people because
Right.
when the Greeks and Romans came into that area, the people fled and they went to West Africa. They went to other places.
Right. Exactly. When the invasions come.
So the invasions came over 3,000 years of invasion. So we are actually the blood of those people.
Right. Okay. Hold it right there. I want to go back to the phone lines quickly. I want to go to Quasi, who's been holding, and then we'll go to Eden on the other side of the break. Hey, Quasi, welcome to the African History Network show. Thanks for calling. Thanks for holding. Go ahead with your question or comment.
Thanks for taking my call, and Imhotep.
Hey, what's up, brother?
I would like for the dear sister to please share with us what primary research is and the value it is to have someone who does primary research in our community. It's because we're at a time when we don't need to have our facts interpreted by cultural focus.
Mm-hmm.
The facts need to be, because we need to control the narrative.
Right.
And one way of doing that is through primary research.
Right.
You have a valuable sister there.
Yes.
And this is what she does, and I want to hear her talk about that.
All right. Thanks for calling. We all know Brother Quasi.
Hey,
Yeah. What's up, man? I've known him for years. Go ahead, Sister
Thank you for
Nubia.
the question. Primary research is research that the researcher does themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It could be in the form of archaeological research, historical documentation, oral history, and those are the three ways that people do primary research. Secondary research are you're researching what has already previously been done. In the archaeological records, those can be newspapers, magazines, even diaries can be a form of primary research, going back to the primary research.
Right.
If you're reading a life story written by someone that's recovered, or so if somebody is determining a text, a Meroitic text of my place, which we recently, a lot of the names that hadn't been previously deciphered has been deciphered. So those are the two ways that documentation and how knowledge is produced.
Okay. All right. We're coming up on the break. You listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm speaking with Sista Nubia Wardford. We're talking about Nubian women of antiquity, the Queendom of Kush. She will be speaking Thursday, March 21st, 2019 at Wayne County Community College District Eastern Campus, 5901 Connor Street in Detroit, the Cooper Room, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, free and open to the public. So come on out, and we're going to hold her over the break, and we'll have some more with our sister Nubian. And we'll go to Aiden also. You listen to 19 AM Superstation Future Radio. Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation Future Radio. Calling numbers 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. We're speaking with Sista Nubia Wardford, who is a African-American female archaeologist. I'm saying that because a lot of people don't know that African-American female archaeologists exist. We've had her here on the show before. She is doing a lecture dealing with some of her research at the Wayne County Community College District Eastern Campus on Thursday, March 21st, 2019, 5901 Connor Street in Detroit. 10 a.m. to 12 noon in the Cooper Room. This is free and open to the public. Come on out. She will be discussing Nubian women of antiquity, the Queendom of Kush, K-U-S-H, Nubian women of antiquity, the Queendom of Kush, and this is organized by the Nubian Archaeological Project. Before we go back to Sister Nubia, let me go back to the phone lines quickly. Let's go to Aiden. Aiden, hey, welcome to the African History Network show. Aiden, thanks for listening. Thanks for holding. Tell us where you're calling from.
Detroit. I'd like to apologize for interrupting the teaching at the moment.
That's all right.
This is important with her speaking on Kush.
Yes, sir.
I just want to, I missed the first beginning of the show. It was from what the people, what was said. It was just passionate to me because my mother told me that, Dr. Charles Yes, the Charles Wright was from me and my sisters and brothers into the earth.
Mm-hmm. You said you and your sisters and brothers did what now?
He
brought
birthed
us
them.
into the
Oh yeah.
So by me listening to you every Sunday and hearing to, then we coming up on what Oprah did and so forth, all I'm like, wow, so I'm like, what's going on? So I just want to know if either at the end of the show you will explain more, or you will give us something or need something that I can go off on.
Explain more about what? Explain more about what?
Yeah, yes, I need to know.
I really had not planned on having to revisit it, because now I'm broadcasting on Facebook Live. At the end of the broadcast, you can go back and watch it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I really hadn't planned on having to revisit it, And
that's what I wanted to know. Where can I go?
Yeah. Well, we're broadcasting on my Facebook fan page, the African History Network, and we're also broadcasting the African History Network on Facebook. We're also broadcasting on 9:10 a.m. Superstation's Facebook page also. But after the broadcast, you can back and watch it.
Somebody else's page. I got to go to somebody else's page. I've never had Facebook. So,
I see what you're saying, man. I see what you're saying. Okay. All right, Aiden. Thanks for listening, okay?
Okay.
All right. Okay, so let's go back to Sista Nubia. All right, so right before the break, we were talking about ancient Kemet, which is ancient Egypt. We were talking about the Kingdom of Kush, Kush, and explain to people once again, because Kush, from my understanding, is more of a region, or was more of a region than an actual country. Okay.
It was a region. It was the region that was from the border of the Nile. I guess that would be the southern border of the Nile, on further down, even towards Uganda.
Okay.
It would encompass all of what we call southern Sudan now, and a little further up to northern Sudan, all the way to the Egyptian border. It was a huge region. The people, the cultures that surround it, it could even be considered Kushite at different times, because the empire, with the influence of the empire, however strong an army was, they would sometimes encompass these smaller ethnic groups, or smaller. It wasn't a separate civilization. It was just to explain the broader notion, all of Northeast Africa was a highly developed civilization. Kush is known as the oldest part of that civilization.
Okay.
This even predates ancient Egypt.
Right.
Even the Ramses is known to have said that my ancestors are from the south. But we don't know how far south is south, and that's one of the areas of my research. As I told you, in Botswana, there's the oldest structure to date that they have found in the world,
right?
Which is 300,000 years old. And so, how far is south? Because we know the source of the Nile. One of the major sources is Lake Nyanza, in Zimbabwe Falls, which there are other freshwater tributaries and rivers that go south. So people, civilizations followed rivers and freshwater sources, and there are several freshwater sources that are even south of Lake Nyasa.
Okay.
And in Zimbabwe, everybody has to have fresh water to live.
Right.
So we have this structure in Botswana that people are not talking about that's 300,000 years old. Someone had to build to get to that point in technology. Is going to take you at least 10,000 years to get to the point of that. So we know that people are beyond 310,000 years ago. And the caveat with all this is that there are environmental changes. You can't tell there are probably civilizations that have risen and fell that left no trace, because there are earth changes, oceans come and go, earthquakes, all kinds of different natural calamities that can cover up the record of a civilization or people even exist. And I know this is far beyond a lot of times what people think about, but we African people are much, much more an older race of people than what is known.
Right, exactly. Now, when you talk about going back this far back in history and Kush being older than ancient Kemet.
Yeah.
How far back in time do we go with Kush, going back to the origins historically as best as we can tell?
About 10,000 years. Kerma is
about 10,000 years ago or 10,000 BC?
about 10,000 BC.
About 10,000 BC.
10,000 BC. No, 8,000 BC. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And then, because Kerma we know is 8,000 BC, and that was a large fortress in which was a major battlefront 10,000 years ago.
Right.
And that's one of the oldest structures. Now, we also know that Jebel Barka, which was the home of Amun, where they said that mountain, we know he lived there around the same time period, 10,000 years ago. But we find archaeological evidence. They have, they found the chip that's over 300 million years old with numbers and writing, and they've never been able to disassociate that either.
Right.
So what's going? The Earth has more mysteries than what is known about it, and one of the mysteries is the antiquity of civilization, which we would call African civilization now, because we don't have the names of what they used to call it. Now, we mentioned Ta-Nehisi as the name of ancient Kush.
Mm-hmm.
That word either means land of the cow or land of the serpent.
Right, land of the serpent, right.
Land of the serpent, but it could be Nahash, which is land for a cow. Now, you know that the antlers and the horns of the cow are also used in plenty of the iconography in that area. In the serpent, the Uraeus is land of the serpent, land of the earth god, or earth creatress, because it deals with the earth, the animals that are closest to the earth. So, that's a little bit debated because of the antiquity of the language. We know that one of the languages that borrows significantly from it is Arabic,
right,
as well as the Hebrew,
right,
and the Canaanite languages. And so those translations, we can get Nahash, which is serpent, or Nahash, which could mean cattle or cow.
Absolutely. Okay, so once again, Sista Nubia is going to be speaking Thursday, March 21st, 2019, at the Wayne County Community College District Eastern Campus, 5901 Connor Street in Detroit, in the Cooper Room, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. This is free and open to the public. She'll be revealing her research now, and we'll go to Leonard in just a minute. So hold the line, Leonard. So what type of presentation are you going to do? Is it going to be visual? What are you going to do?
It's going to be visual. We're going to do a PowerPoint presentation. Hopefully that you can join us.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there.
And we're going to talk about the 8 queens: Shanadakade, Amana Neris, Amana Kushito, Amana Tore, Amana Nitere, Amana Kenhatashan, in the 2 queens that just got discovered last year. They were just deciphered. We've been waiting for this. Claude Riley, who's a French linguist, just deciphered this. So this is hot off the press.
Wow.
And that's Melekotchebar and Lahida Ayam Amani, who were the last 2 queens, because they knew their pyramids existed in Bejawiya there, and I go and stand in front of their pyramids and sometimes say, "Tell us who you are, mamas, tell us who you are." And so they finally did. They finally told us who they are, and their reigns are pretty much chronological. And these women, and this is really Kush went into what we would call into modern history,
right? Because
it's 314 BCE, and they resisted Christianity up until that time.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yep. Yeah. So that's it. Just copy and paste that, Mike. Okay. So you're going to break down 8 queens. Now, does this have anything to do with March being Women's History Month?
It does.
Okay, Women's History Month. Okay, so explain that.
So this is a Women's History Month presentation that I wanted women to know their antiquity, and black people to understand, because a lot of black people say, well, Egyptian history has nothing to do with us. We're not from that area. Yes, we are. Our blood runs through the veins. When I go to Sudan, if I don't say anything, people think I'm from Sudan.
Right.
And I had a man argue me down, almost just dismissed me because he thought that I was from the area. He thought I was from Sudan, and he said, well, are you from Sudan? I said, no. Well, your parents are from Sudan. I said, no. Well, where are your parents from? You know, they argue with me, and, you know, and I told them I always get a joke out of telling people they're from Mississippi and Tennessee because most people don't know the geography of the United States that well.
Right.
He said, I've never heard of a place called that. And so, you know what I mean?
Now, what was the name of this place again?
Mississippi and Tennessee.
Oh, yeah. Well, you have a Memphis in Tennessee. You have a Memphis in Egypt. You have all these things. You got a Jersey in England. You have a New Jersey.
Tennessee is Africa too now.
Right. Tennessee.
It's Ta-Nehisi.
Okay, so break that.
Tennessee really means Ta-Nehisi.
Tennessee means Ta-Nehisi. Okay, now.
Ta-Nehisi.
Okay, so.
Ta-Nehisi. They don't know. It comes from an ancient language that the Native Americans don't know where it came from. So that's another thing to study.
Okay, so I know.
Kentucky being Kentucky.
Right. Okay.
You know, there's
Kentucky being what?
Kentucky.
Kentucky. Now, what's Kentucky?
Kentucky is the great mothers from ancient Kush, which goes, you know,
like Kentucky, like the Candace?
Kentucky.
Kentucky. Okay. Wow. Okay. So everybody, y'all need to be there. Okay.
Yeah.
You need to be there Thursday, March 21st, 2019.
Right.
Wayne County Community College District, Eastern Campus, 5901 Connor Street in Detroit. The Cooper Room, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Sista Nubia is going to be dropping it like this, okay? Dropping the knowledge. All right, let's go to Leonard, line 1. Hey, Leonard, welcome to the African History Network show. Thanks for calling. Where are you calling from?
Detroit.
Okay, thanks for calling. Go ahead with your question or comment.
I have a simple thing. You know, what's the difference between Kush with the C and Kush with the K?
Nothing.
Kush with a C and Kush with a K?
Nothing, just a different spelling.
Okay, I thought it might have been some influence or something. Okay,
No.
thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right, thanks for calling,
That was
Leonard.
an easy one, so
Right.
I'm glad
Kush-
I
okay.
could answer that.
Kush with the C and Kush with the K, because we'll see it both ways, right?
Right,
But it's the same
It's the
thing.
same
Okay.
thing.
All right. So when we deal with let people know briefly your credentials. Let people know that, because a lot of people, you know, when we see the History Channel, then we see archaeologists. You know, we'll see Arabs, we'll see, you know, but we don't see African American females.
Right.
Especially from Detroit.
That's what I am from. I'm from the West Side,
right
from Detroit. All right. So yeah, well, I studied at Wayne State University. I have a bachelor in anthropology, and I have a master's in historical archaeology, but with a focus on archaeology of the African world.
Mm-hmm.
Prehistoric and historic.
Mm-hmm.
So I have studied in Sudan since 2009, actually, and I worked with an international team there on the as you saw it yourself. It was the find of the decade. I'm not just saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I found the first artifact on the site. I found the first.
In Sudan.
Yeah, my ancestors will tell. I was finding everything, and they kept on. And my ancestors would say, "I kid you not," they would just say, "Dig there."
Right.
And I was just like, okay, and I would dig, and I would to the chagrin of all the people around me. They begin to say, "Nubia, how do you?" I said, "I can't tell you how I know, but I'll just pick a spot, and it would be pregnant with finds." We also found some pieces. I was with a French archaeologist, Italian, Richard Lobin, emeritus professor from Rhode Island College. Who invited me along on the dig with him, as well as the Sudanese archaeologist. It was run by of course, the National Museum, National Council of Antiquities and Museums, which is the National Museum of Sudan, which gives the permits to dig. So, as you know, I'm still in the process of trying to form a team. I've not found team members that are focused on ancient Kush, but it's coming. It's just coming, and I'll be writing historic scripts and things, and to make sure that there are plays and movies that talks about it, because that's what gets people, what people say laymen, but just say all the people interested. And we just as we have epic movies about the Spartacus and in those wars, the epic history of Taharka. I stood in front of Taharka's pyramid with his 52 queens behind me.
Wow.
I went to each one of those queens' pyramids and thanked them for their contributions to civilization. So it's just wonderful. I went to Tutmosis III's tomb in Egypt, and the brothers and sisters there would walk up and say, "Thank you for coming home. Thank you, sister. Welcome home." My husband began to say, What's going on? Thank you for coming home. Thank you for coming back." They would give us free tours. They took me places, and I took pictures inside of tombs that no one has been allowed to take pictures of. And they kept on telling me that they don't see African Americans all the time, and they kept on saying, "Are you guys into movies? Are you sports people?" I'm just like, "No, we're just a husband and wife on vacation." You know what I mean? Just wanted to see these things. So, in my going back and forth to Sudan, I've lived there for 6 months, and I taught school in Sudan, and so the people there, I was happy to bring the history to the people of Sudan, the children, because many of the children had never visited the museum in Sudan.
So many of the children in the Sudan had never visited the museum.
So I brought them to this museum and introduced them to, my friends, the directors and the curators. The director of the museum is a woman. The 7 superior judges in Sudan are women. That is the highest court, because Sudan has a long history of matrilineal history. And so that's from the many of the things that go on in Sudan now, people think it is not traditional because they've adapted Islamic order and they're Muslim. But embedded inside of all that, you see traditions. When they have babies, they go to the Nile River and put the babies in the water so the angels of the Nile would kiss them. That is not Islam. That's ancient African traditions.
Right, exactly. All right, so Sista Nubia Wardford holds a Master's of Arts in Historical Archaeology with a focus on archaeology of the African world, prehistoric and historic. Her involvement in primary research in archaeology, anthropology, and historical research has resulted in conclusions regarding the importance of the ancient Kushite, Meroitic, ancient Sudan civilization, which predates ancient Egypt. Okay, the contributions of citizens, government, and academic institutions of ancient Kush reveal evidence of high-level human activities, including writing, mathematics, science, and architecture, earlier than 100,000 years ago. She prefers her type of research to be considered Kushology, okay, Kushology, as a Kushologist, is that how you pronounce it?
A Kushologist.
Kushologist, she presents a holistic approach to research, which includes culture, history, oral history, and archaeology to reconstruct as best possible activities and events of the past. Now, you can visit her website, ancientnubiancities.com, ancientnubiancities.com, and we'll get this flyer on our website, africanhistorynetwork.com. Go see her presentation Thursday, March 21st, Wayne County Community College District Eastern Campus, 5901 Connor Street in Detroit, the Cooper Room, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, free and open to the public. All right, sister. It's always good to have you. And we'll bring you back again soon, okay?
Thank you so much.
No problem. You listen to 910 a.m. Superstation Future Radio. I'm Michael Imhotep. When we come back, we'll deal with some of the crazy things that happened this week around the country. We'll be back in a few minutes.